How goes it, everyone? This is SRxun, the servant-in-chief of the Essence International community of companies. And for today's share, I want to take my main idea from chapter 45, verse 27. And this is when Isaac heard the good news about Jacob. When Jacob heard the good news about his son Joseph's existence, and not only was he still alive, but he was flourishing. God had positioned him in a place of prominence. And in hearing this, it says his spirit revived in him, and he got a renewed sense of purpose and set out to go and see him. So with that, I want to basically just briefly share around the theme of revive all. Not to try to, pull out my mini violin and start a sad song. But the common theme that I'm sure we all can agree upon is the fact that we have times of down and out, and we just go through things in this human experience. And it's like, I have this conflict of being true to myself. It's like, I think I just resolved it right now in your hearing. The part when David says about encouraging yourself is really important. However, sometimes that's not enough, at least for me. And I believe here, Jacob was in a place where he had suffered such great loss, and he had really given up and conceded to, I would say, defeat or this low estate. As previous to the main idea, they had come back and said, hey, we need to get more food. And he was like, no. And they said, he told them, his sons, to go get more food. And they turned around and said, look, we can't go back. The man said, we got to bring Benjamin, so on and so forth. And as it continued, he basically said, you know what? Go ahead. Take him. If he doesn't come back, if none of you guys come back, and I'm paraphrasing, I'll just kind of just deal with it, so to say. He had basically conceded defeat, it seemed, and was wallowing. And I can certainly relate to that. However, I believe, sometimes, and this is just a personal side note, that God allows that. It is part of His plan for us to get to this place of, what? All right, look, I concede defeat, que sera, sera. Because at that place now, or at the place of hopelessness, is where we can find total reliance. And it was right at this point that he was revived with the good news. A few moments ago, check this out. Yesterday I was speaking to one of my aunts about my grandma, and she was telling me about something that grandma had been dealing with for a while that I didn't know about, an ailment, and how she was just telling me how, she's going to She kind of felt bad it took so long. I hope I'm not putting her out there too much. But that she's gonna finally, get it done for her this upcoming week. So tonight, I get to see both of them, and it's so timely. Again, this was confirmation that the Revive All topic or theme that came to mind when I was getting and hearing the treatments was actually what I was supposed to share about. Confirmation was then she comes and she says, hey, let me tell you something. Let me share a testimony. Let's share an overcoming moment. And she basically addresses the same thing that her daughter and I were talking about the night before, but she testifies to the fact of how loving and caring our Father in heaven is, and how she was in the house. Maybe, I don't know if it was around the same time her daughter and I were talking about it. That would be something, wouldn't it? If while we're over here talking about it, God's dealing with her with the same exact thing at the same time. This is kind of wishful thinking, but not out of the realm of possibility. In any case, she tells me how she's there in her intimate moments and she begins having a conversation with our Father about the situation. And she's given some instructions, some things are laid on her heart, and she follows step by step. And the Lord, in His grace and mercy, and it was part of His will for her to be relieved of this thing, and He did it miraculously. And that good word, in that moment, it caused me to feel like Jacob did, or how I perceive. It was just a revival of spirit. And the reason I wanted to just basically title this share Revive All is because I've seen the way God works in such a way. He pours out liberally. He doesn't hold anything back. And so just to be in proximity of His blessings, you get a benefit. Everyone can benefit, and everyone does benefit in some way or the other. So with her revival of spirit, and I would say in the growth of her relationship, the confirmation that of what our Father did for her, and her sharing that, my spirit was revived as well. That just made me so very glad, not just for her, but also it revived me because, I ask for the comfort of the saints, and He answers. Our God is such a great God. And that brings me to my wish that we would all receive a revival of hearts and minds and spirits and, relationships, and the most important one, an intimacy with the one who revives all. Captain, my fault. Excuse me. Caption that.